Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe.
What should Jeff Hardy do at WrestleMania 34? I'm Ollie Davis. This is Luke Owen in a brand new era of WrestleTalk, WrestleRamble. We've got a general manager now. We've got more personalities on the channel now. And, we can just assure you that nothing's going to change. Me and Luke are still going to be making all the same videos and WrestleRamble stuff. There's just going to be more. So isn't that fun?
It'd be really funny if someone watched this video but hadn't watched the 500k day party. And then was just like, oh, the Saturday WrestleRamble, I better watch that now. And the first thing you say is, we've got a general manager.
Yes.
There's all these new fans. What the hell happened?
Yeah, a lot of stuff goes on when you don't watch every single video. So go, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
As Michael Cole would say,
Yeah.
quite obnoxiously and irritatingly, what are you waiting for?
It's like Netflix, but better.
What are you waiting for? Subscribe to the WWE Network. Cancel that. Watch the 500k day party video. Huge announcements. Took us completely by surprise.
Didn't it just? All of so surprising.
Speaking of surprises,
Segway.
Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy surprised people the other week.
Not your best segue, I'll be honest.
No. So speaking of hardy times,
Much better.
we weren't even talking of hard times though.
No, we should have done that. Yeah, should have maybe made a Big Boss Man reference.
Because it's police.
Well, no, because his theme song was called Hard Times.
Right, the Dusty Rhodes promo, hard times.
Yep.
This is going to be because we're in good spirits. It's going to be a bit of a rambly episode today. Could have also said Road to WrestleMania.
Ah, yeah.
And a bit of a DWI down that highway.
Yes, that's probably the better way of doing it. Do you want to try it again?
No, I'm just going to go straight into the story. So, what should Jeff Hardy do at WrestleMania 34? That's the conversational topic here. But it's also a little bit, should Jeff Hardy do anything at WrestleMania 34? Because of course we want to protect the human being that is Jeff. We don't want him to go out there if he has certain personal issues that he's relapsed in, which we know nothing about. So
yes,
there is of course that side of things, but we're gonna focus on the more fun side, fantasy booking. What should Jeff Hardy do if this DWI never happened, really?
Yeah, if it gets like a Jey Uso and it's just like, let's just sweep this under the rug, it's okay.
Yeah.
Not that I very much don't condone these sorts of things. We've discussed this on the podcast before. I'd say that if you do drink, drive, and kind of get arrested for it, under the influence,
yeah,
you sort of lose a bit of sympathy points from me. But yeah, do we want to just give a brief overview of the story and the latest on it? No.
Yeah, okay. Do you want to do... I'll do it because I was knee-deep in this all week.
I was going to say, this is your story, man.
Knee-deep. So last Thursday, not the Thursday just gone, but the Thursday before that, WWE filmed the Ultimate Deletion match. This was via reports from PW Insider or whatnot. Rabbi Sky's probably furiously tweeting me as I said that. She heard it from somewhere. Someone just said something about my beloved Hardys.
Yeah, already got her Twitter phone out.
Yes. And they recorded this, and it turns out, a lot of sites have reported this, Jeff Hardy filmed a cameo. So this would have been Jeff Hardy's return to WWE television since October, because he's been out...
Since Raw 25.
Was he in Raw 25?
Yeah, remember he was backstage in the APA playing cards with MVP.
Oh my God.
You remember?
You can't bring that up.
No.
You argue that is not canon. Anything that happened at Raw 25 did not happen.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
So, Jeff Hardy, since October, and he was getting a bit of a pushback then. Like, he was going into the Intercontinental title feud with Miz. Even though Matt going woken happened about a month after Jeff was sidelined with injury, I felt to me like they were always going to split. Jeff was going to go on a singles run and fine Matt, have your thing. Mm-hmm. But Jeff was... He went out with a torn labrum, I believe. Labrum.
Labrum is how I would have thought it pronounced.
And a rotator cuff in his shoulder. So he underwent shoulder surgery. And now he's medically cleared. As of this week, he finished his... He posted this on Instagram. He's finished his physical therapy stuff. Pro Wrestling Sheet says he's been cleared to return to the ring medically, just waiting on WWE's plans. WWE already had plans with the cameo. PW Insider said he was scheduled in to go back to the Performance Center this month, meaning March, meaning before WrestleMania, so he could return this month, which is before WrestleMania, implying there might have been a tag team bout, or at least, something for him at Mania to do in the ring. But all of this has kind of been turned topsy-turvy by that DWI arrest last Saturday.
If it does play into it, I suppose, because one has to wonder whether the end of Ultimate Deletion will see the return of Jeff Hardy screwing Matt out of the match.
Ooh.
And then maybe forming an alliance with Bray Wyatt, or perhaps building up towards a Matt-Jeff feud at WrestleMania, because, as we all know, those always get over huge when they do the Hardy versus Hardy feuds. It always results in the best matches at WrestleMania.
But I think in this instance it might work. Now these are so far removed from the Hardy characters.
Yeah, but here's the thing though. Like, you can say that they're so far removed, but when Matt Hardy wrestles, it's still Matt Hardy. Like, it's not like he's different now that he's woken/broken.
He does the thing into the turnbuckles.
He still wrestles like Matt Hardy though.
Yes. No, sometimes he eats people.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
I mean, what a drastic change. Put him in the Hall of Fame.
What, you have turned sarky. What is this? Where's this coming from?
Late in the date, man.
So, I think that's... I think because Jeff's... if they keep him in Ultimate Deletion, because, it could be edited out come Monday. If they keep him in, I did read it was a cameo, so I don't think it was anything significant. I feel like if this was Jeff's big return, he would have more than a cameo. Unless it is just at the end, like you said, a shot where he pushes Matt or he fires a freaking firework thing. I don't know if WWE would let that kind of thing happen on their TV.
That sort of, yeah.
Seems very don't try this at home, kids.
I was going to say, man, I'm so intrigued by Monday. So intrigued for the Ultimate Deletion to see what they pull out. Because this is a match that has been, over a year in the making. But on longer than that, really, on WWE, because they made their return at WrestleMania and everyone was just assuming we're going to jump straight into this woken era, but then it's taken till December to get there, and now we're in March because we're finally getting the Hardy compound stuff. So it's been a long time in the making. So it's going to be very interesting to see the official WWE version of a deletion style match.
Well, we did get something akin to it when the New Day took on the Wyatt family.
Yeah, but that was very much just like, that was popular over there. Let's just copy it and do it over here.
I was a big fan of that. I really liked that match.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was different. In fact, it's a year and a half in the making. Senor Benjamin retweeted something he posted from 2016.
Oh, really?
Where he called out Bray Wyatt.
Really?
Yeah. But I'm excited about WWE. I'm looking forward to their television because for the first time in a while, it feels varied. You've got the main event feud, you've got the fun of Braun, you've got the good wrestling in the Intercontinental title picture, and now on top of that you've got
the drama of Nia and Alexa.
Yes, the soap opera stuff of that. You've got Ronda Rousey star power. I mean, I'm just talking about Raw, but of course you've got that US title feud with Jinder Mahal. Who can forget that? But then you've also got varying the style, making it feel different. You've got this little pocket of the Woken universe, and I really hope it does catch on, just so it can be something different in the 3 hours of television we get each week.
That'll be the most interesting thing, is seeing the ratings, seeing that quarter-hour rating, see if it increases or decreases or just remains the same. That'll be really fascinating to see.
So you think Jeff is going to turn on Matt?
I mean,
because you could equally have Jeff help Matt.
Yes.
And you build the Hardys.
Yeah, that's the alternative, is that Jeff returns to help Matt beat Bray, and then you have the Hardy Boys reunited, or as the brother Nero character. And I mean, you can't then put them into the tag title program, unfortunately, because that's now taken up with Braun. Which is interesting as well, because I think in the Wrestling Observer newsletter...
let's move into this story.
Because Meltzer was reporting, and he'd been reporting for a while, that one of the plans was Miz versus Braun for the IC title. But then on Monday, Braun was just put into this tag team situation where he's beaten the entire tag team division in a battle royal, and he's now the number one contender to the tag team championships. So Meltzer's saying that Vince McMahon, that is, hasn't decided whether it's going to be a handicap match or Braun is getting a partner, which suggests to me this was very much a last-minute decision. So perhaps I'm speculating here, pull into the speculation station. Maybe the plan was they were going to do the Hardys versus the Bar at WrestleMania, with Jeff Hardy making his return here, but this DWI has now changed that, hence why we did this sort of bit of a left turn with Braun, where we're in a situation where we're not even sure if Braun is fighting on his own or fighting alongside someone else.
I like that theory. The timeline sadly doesn't check out.
Does it not?
Yeah, so Jeff's arrest came on that Saturday,
Okay.
and then the Braun thing happened on the Monday. So that bit works out. And then Meltzer reported all that stuff on the Thursday. But actually, he said on a Wrestling Observer Radio 2 weeks ago, because I remember it, because it was like, what's going on here? Because he kind of giggled like a girl, Dave Meltzer, when he's got something he can't say.
I love when Dave gets like this. It's so much fun. And yeah, no, I was going to say something else, but it's all right.
So I think Brian Alvarez is whining about why the bar don't have anything, and like Meltzer goes, "Oh, you should see. I think they've got something else in mind." And then Brian goes, "What? You know something? I know that voice." Like an old married couple. Dave Meltzer's like, "No, I did. You know, be interesting." It's interesting. And then so he reported that it wasn't going to be a match. The plan after the Miz, the Intercontinental title 3-way started to take shape. Braun transitioned. He was always going to have an angle. The plan was, at least apparently, reportedly, was to have an angle with the bar where he confronts them, but no match. So that was their fallback option, to have your tag team champions and arguably the hottest star in your company have an angle at WrestleMania.
It's the showcase of the Immortals.
So I don't think the Hardys were ever factored into this, which makes me think that it's either a Hardys singles match or they're not going to do anything until after Mania, which is a shame. But I almost they'll do Battle Royal stuff, which is a shame, but I almost prefer it because, like we said, it's a 14-match card right now.
Or it's going to be the Hardys versus Bray and a partner. Maybe they're going to use the Ultimate Deletion to debut a new disciple for Bray Wyatt. Or Jeff Hardy makes his return, and then in the next couple of weeks of TV, Bray debuts a new character, a new tag team partner, and, you have a fun little pre-show match. It'd have to go on the pre-show, I'd have thought.
Or maybe they could just have the factions in the Battle Royal. I'm just trying to put as much stuff in these Battle Royals at the moment,
You
so
sound
we
just
don't
like
have
Vince.
to...
You sound just like Vince McMahon.
Put him on the Battle Royal. So the other thing that's kind of topsy-turvy about WrestleMania 34, and, if something huge has broken, because we are recording this before this has come out, all of this stuff could be very secondary news.
There might, because this is going live on a Saturday. There may have been stuff that's already been announced before this has gone live, or could happen. Is this going live on Saturday? Yes, it is. Yeah. Or it's going to go live. Whatever. Stuff might happen in the interim of us recording this. So we'll just preface that for now. Here's the situation we are in as we record.
So, John Bravo, who's this... he's a filmmaker. He's like a bodybuilder, filmmaker kind of guy.
Every time I hear it, it makes me laugh. His name is Johnny Bravo.
Yes, yeah. John Bravo, not Johnny Bravo.
No, his name is Johnny Bravo.
Blonde, quiffy-old man from the 90s.
Do you remember a tie-in with wrestling? The Rock was going to play him in a movie once.
Yes, I've seen the mocked-up poster of The Rock with the big quiff and the shades.
Yep.
It's like perfect casting.
It is.
Of course.
Oh, Johnny Bravo. What a cartoon that was, man.
That's where Seth MacFarlane got his start.
Yes, indeed.
As a cartoonist. So the idea... You've thrown me now.
Sorry,
Johnny Bravo.
Johnny Bravo is a filmmaker, and he was the guy who said that he was involved in a...
No. He's making a documentary and some investigative journalism stuff about Richard Rodriguez, who is a steroid user, steroid dealer, my apologies, has been jailed, and Richard Rodriguez is naming a number of people via John Bravo who he sold steroids to and performance-enhancing drugs and stuff. And he's named Mark Wahlberg, Josh Duhamel, Roman Reigns, most famously for our situation here. But all those people have denied it. And for weeks and weeks and weeks, John Bravo's been saying the film's coming, more evidence is coming. And last Friday, he put up a Snapchat image of Luther Reigns. Another former WWE star has been embroiled in this. More evidence coming soon. And everyone's like, he got it confused. It's not Roman Reigns, it's Luther Reigns. And I was like, who's Luther Reigns?
It's a name I recognise, but I was not watching wrestling when
Yeah.
Luther Reigns was an active performer. But it was a name that I recognised because I texted you saying, like, have you seen the latest? If this is the case, it's the most hilarious case of mistaken identity. At least within the wrestling world. I had a proper old chuckle at it, but it appears that might not be the case either.
Yeah, so it seems like, the heat's off, Roman Reigns isn't really, it's all been a big mistake, how embarrassing. But the Wrestling Observer is reporting that those close to John Bravo says, no, it just Luther Reigns is also in this. Roman Reigns bought stuff using his own name, which is Joe Anoa'i. Why would you do that? Why would you buy steroids using your own name? It's all very weird and fishy, but John Bravo is releasing this fuller documentary on Friday, the 16th of March, after we've recorded this. So, I mean, we've probably just spoke about a bunch of stuff you already know because it's either just fizzled out into nothing or it's the hugest story on the planet and we're not addressing it right now. In which case, you can laugh at us. Laugh at us as we sit here before you.
Have fun with that.
Hello and welcome to WrestleTalk. I'm Ollie Davis and I'm very excited to announce our most ambitious release ever. The WrestleTalk Almanac Volume 1. A huge 144-page full-colour book which is the most complete insider guide to professional wrestling you'll find anywhere on the planet. Featuring an unparalleled dissection of wrestling's most important news stories, shows and happenings from 2017 to 2018. The WrestleTalk Almanac also includes full day-by-day news from around the world and detailed analysis of the year's major wrestling stories, reviews of over 400 events from more than 40 promotions worldwide, from Japan and Mexico to the USA and UK, all featuring full match results, times, star ratings and more. A comprehensive list of over 1,000 major shows throughout history, each one graded by its average star rating and ranked in order. At a simple glance, you can now see what were the best and worst shows in modern wrestling times. A stats list of over 850 active wrestlers featuring heights, weights, real names, hometowns and more. Plus full TV ratings, 2017 obituaries and more. This must-have bookazine is available now to order worldwide for just £13.99 plus postage and packaging. And it's also available to read as a digital release for only $9.99. And if you order now, you'll get a signed 8x10 of me and Luke, if that's your thing. We thought about signing the almanac itself, but we didn't want to depreciate the value. Order the WrestleTalk Almanac Volume 1 now using the link below at WrestleTalk.bigcartel.com.
Now that the 500k day party is out the way, it's time to get back to one of our favourite segments here on WrestleRamble, which we haven't done for a long time.
We have not. My inbox has been crammed full of these. We've plucked out some of the best ones that we have been sent thus far.
Good.
And these are two corkers of crap gimmicks right here. Our first one comes from Adam Thompson. I do apologise, I'm going to call you Andy then. Adam Thompson, who was submitted Mikey the Mailman. Mikey dresses like an average mailman, but with a heelish vibe. He has his sleeves ripped off, his shirt and work cap that he wears backwards. When coming to the ring, he's always carrying a mailbag which supposedly holds his mail-in. But sometimes during the match, he'll go to it and pull out a weapon, like brass knuckles, or perhaps something allowed in a PG era. He sets up feuds by delivering mail to other wrestlers, which are read by the wrestlers, contain threatening and mysterious messages, which the recipients can never seem to understand, or see that it's clearly been written by Mikey. His finisher is the package pile driver, and his catchphrase is, "I always deliver." He also has an irrational fear of dogs, potential hot dog vendor or Beastmaster feud right there. So that's Mikey the Mailman. I think the only thing I don't like is the way the delivering mails and mysterious things. I'm not sure I fully buy into that bit.
That's one of the strongest parts.
No. The strongest part of that is the mailbag that it could have a weapon inside it. That is something you could get over.
No. This is why it's real crap. This is why this is such a good crap gimmick, because it's got loads of crap bits about it, but the crappiest bit is the idea of you build up these feuds. This is so Sunday Heat, isn't it?
Sunday Night Heat, mate.
Sunday
Absolutely.
Night Heat, where it's just entire feuds based on one guy. It's
Joe Just Joe.
It's just Joe Just Joe. Yeah,
I'm Joe, just Joe.
He's stirring the pot by delivering these messages to
Don't
people.
shoot the mailman.
That's his.
What's
That's
that?
his another. That's another catchphrase right there.
Don't shoot the messenger. But yeah, same thing.
So what? Oh, yeah, don't shoot the mailman. I always deliver. He's already got 2 catchphrases, which are really timed perfectly, organically with his character.
And it feels so 90s WWF. Mikey the Mailman. I can see him in my head with the ripped sleeves and the tie and everything. Totally buy into
Got
that.
Bill Buchanan in my head.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Right days.
And there is I'm going a bit off piste here, but there's a real Ghostbusters action figure, one of the ghosts you could get that was a mailman, and that's what I've got in my head. That's the image that I see, is this real Ghostbusters toy that I had when I was a kid. And I love it. I think this is great.
16 minutes.
Oh,
We got a 90s reference in.
bloody love the 90s.
Oh, we already had Johnny Bravo. What
was
are we
gonna
talking
say,
about?
yeah.
Much earlier. So, I mean, I am very confident there. I'm signing Mikey the Mailman.
As am I. You can also
That's how I sign it.
he
A giant novelty pen.
I also think that his only pinfall should be the a small package.
Yeah. Package delivered. That's a Michael Cole can shout that on commentary.
Every time he comes out.
Yeah. Delivery. Yeah, that's how he comes out.
It's mail time.
Yeah, when he walks into into locker rooms, delivery. And that's how the little vignettes backstage start.
Yeah.
Oh, what does Mikey want now? Delivery, don't shoot the messenger. That's good.
That's a good one.
That's really good.
So we've got another one here from Ryan Palmer, our last one for today. The CSA. The CSA is a customer service advisor. We all know those. We've all encountered them in our lives. He comes to the ring 5 minutes late in a shirt, tie, and dress pants. If the show is on Monday to Thursday, he comes to the ring in a shirt, tie, and dress pants if the show is Monday to Thursday, or in jeans and a t-shirt if the show is on dress down Friday or on the weekend. I like that little touch there. He has a headset on during his matches, so he never misses a call. Otherwise, he'll fail his target. He will stop mid-match to transfer a call to the correct department, then give his opponent some sarcastic scorn. He has worked as a CSA since graduating with a degree 10 years ago, and has been a lower mid-card for years too, never being able to break that glass ceiling. This makes him cynical and jaded, which is why he turns up late and can't be asked to do his job. His finishing move is the cutoff. He signals the finish with a warning: if you use that language again, I will cut you off. The cutoff being a triple brainbuster. So that's the
What the
CSA.
hell's that move?
Well, it's just drop them down, pick them back up. 3 brainbusters, mate. So that is the CSA. There's a lot of little things in there that I really like.
Do you want to hear my theory why this is so detailed?
Because he is a customer
I think
service.
Brian Palmer's a CSA.
That he also got a degree 10 years ago and has done nothing
he's been
with
stuck
it.
in this job. I think if we were to go around Ryan Palmer's house right now, say, hey, do you want to play some 2K18 or something? We do. We started up. And look, there's some custom characters here. Oh, the CSA. He's really jacked and he's wearing what you're wearing right now, but he's got better hair. And he's... Which is what I do as well, don't worry. Or he has just got off the phone with a particularly annoying CSA, customer service advisor, because he was shouting abuse at them and they had to cut them off.
Yeah, or it feels that a lot of this feels like it's pulled from real life, and that's always the best kind of wrestlers. It's your real life personality turned up to 11. Did you have this sort of job when you got out of university?
Oh, I had the worst job in my life, which I think I might have told you about it before. When I was, you really shouldn't take jobs where they recruit school kids off the streets. That's literally what happened. Like, I was in Victorian London, I'm 16, I'm walking around Dartford town centre, getting my McDonald's for lunch.
Obviously.
And me and my friends were just approached by this lady with a clipboard and said, do you guys want a job? And we were like, yeah. Because, I didn't have a job at that point. And
It's your first job at 16? God, you were let off light.
No, I had not at that point, but I was a Christmas temp in the Bear Factory when I was 15, because you can do temping before you're 16. I was a fudge packer in a chocolate shop.
I forgot that. I forgot that one.
Fudge packer in a chocolate shop.
That's right.
And paper round before that.
Yeah.
So actually, I've been working since I was 12.
That's what I was getting
Thank you.
towards. Yes.
But this one, and she took us up to this room, and we filled out a really easy questionnaire. She's like, you know what, you guys are perfect, and it's only late. I thought, this is great. This is a great opportunity. And it's only afterwards that you think it's because they've got such a freaking high turnover of staff. It was a call centre above of telesales, not telesales. We just cold call people to sell them stuff. Didn't really know what it was, but they were like, you get all these bonuses if you sell this much. We have fun all the time. And it was above a bedding shop in Swanley. I went there and I just had to go through the numbers and try and sell people conservatories.
Nice.
Which is a pretty big thing to sell someone.
People are not buying conservatories on a whim.
No, but you have to convince them. I was just getting and it was just like, phone down. I didn't care about that stuff. It was the old lady who entertained me.
Oh, no.
And talked about it. I was like, oh, Philip, do we need a conservatory? Oh, no. What sort of and I was just like, no, I don't think you need a conservatory. And I put because she didn't. I put the phone down and I was like, I'm never coming back here. And I didn't. I never showed up again. So I did it for like a grand total of 5 hours. It was the most depressing thing I've ever done. I have an enormous sympathy for call centre people. It's not their fault.
It's not their fault.
Yeah.
I worked in sales, in telesales, for a little bit after I got out of university. It was my first, I'd say it's my first quote-unquote proper job, because I had done paper rounds since I was about 12 years old, and then I worked...
So you're 21.
Not far off, to be honest.
The mailman?
Because,
You're the mailman!
No, CSA, mate. Because I did shelf stacking then from when I was 16... then I went to university where I worked still in retail, and then I came out of university and I went back into retail. I worked at the Entertainer, a toy shop, which was a bit of an ideal job for me, really. I bloody loved it. And then I went into this quote-unquote proper job where I had to wear a tie and a shirt, and I had sold out to the man. And it was depressing, and I hated every single second of it. It was soul-destroying working in that place. And I swore to myself that I would never go back to working in a telesales job ever again, because I did it for 14...
But you've got the headset on.
I've got the headset on, but it's not quite the same because I'm not sat there with like a big spreadsheet of numbers that I have to call. You have to log like what happened on that call. And it was pretty bad. And then I was there for 14 months and then got made redundant. But so I got a nice little payout.
They break up with you.
Yeah, I got a nice little payout. But the bonus was I was already planning on leaving. I'd already gone to a job interview and had been offered the job, which turned out to be one of the best jobs I've ever had. Obviously, this is the best job I've ever had. I said one of. And so I'd already been given that job. So I was going to leave in 2 weeks.
Oh, nice.
And then we got
the payment.
On the day I got told I was getting that job, we got told, you're being made redundant in 2 weeks' time. And I was like, quits in, mate.
Nice one, universe.
That really did. It really benefited me.
I've got. So are we going to sign the CSA?
I like the CSA. I'd sign him.
I'm going to sign the CSA to a developmental deal.
Oh, yes, developmental.
Because I think that the CSA to me screams faction. It sounds like faction.
So you're thinking of like the union. What was the union? It was a stable. I can't remember what it stood for. Oh, no, I can't remember what the union stands for. No, if someone's going to point out in the comments, it's fine.
I think, because you can have a few of the office archetypes. You can have the telesales guy. You can have, the grumpy IT guy who fixes everything. You can have the hot woman in the office.
Well, I was going to say the mouthpiece.
Like Jessica. They always seem to have names like that.
The mouthpiece really should be Doris. The old lady who's been there for 30 years.
That's a good one.
And she knows more about telesales than you know. Like, what she doesn't know, you couldn't fit on the back of a postage stamp, all that sort of stuff. And she's like the Jim Cornette of the group.
And you've got like a wild card, really, in-your-face sales
He's just come out of university.
Yeah, he's full of optimism.
He wears his tie a little bit looser.
So, developmental deal, Ryan.
Yeah.
So it's time for some mailbag questions, of course. All Patreons can submit questions. All you have to do is give us money, and then we will answer them. Well, we'll try to answer them, because a lot of questions come in now, because it's open to everyone. First up from Andy Armstrong. If you had to choose one top star / tag team across all brands from the modern era of WWE that would fit suitably into the Attitude Era, and vice versa, who would they be?
Good question.
Triple H. Next question.
I was going to say the Hardy Boys.
Goldberg.
Yeah. I mean, I was just going with tag teams. That was where my mind instantly went to of a tag team from the modern era that would work really well in the Attitude
Era. It's got to be the Usos, surely.
Yeah, the Usos. Well, I was thinking the Revival would be a good, because they'd be a great heel tag team, because you've got like the Hardy Boys and the Dudley Boys trying to do all their hardcore stuff, but the Revival just want to do straight tag team wrestling.
I feel like the Revival are very much even though their whole gimmick is throwback, I feel like they're very much in the work rate era of WWE and NXT. But and that's not to say that the Usos aren't similarly, really great wrestlers. Look at the New Day feud. But I think they would translate better to the larger than life
ladder matches.
Ladder matches. Ladder matches is pretty much what I'm saying. Ladder matches.
I just want to see them do ladder matches.
Yes, over and over.
Yeah, I think that's a very good shout. Also, I think the bar would do quite well. Yeah, the bar would do quite well as well. Lendl Brenson from Patreon says, "What's your favourite Marvel Cinematic Universe movie so far?" This is one where you and I differ on.
Well, there are many very good MCU movies. We're huge fans of Marvel, but for me, I don't know how anyone with a heart cannot choose Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, because it is just sublime, and I think anyone who says otherwise is being contrarian.
You've said this before, but anyone who says the opposite of that is just factually wrong. It's just like, there are certain things you're like, yeah, I mean, we all have a difference of opinion.
But this is actually the right one.
This is actually the right one. Although it's not my favourite in the MCU, because my favourite is The Winter Soldier. Captain America: The Winter Soldier, I think, is
baggy.
It's not a baggy movie.
Baggy movie.
It's a wonderfully crafted movie. I absolutely love The Winter Soldier. And then I think it's probably closely followed by Civil War, I think.
What, Guardians isn't even number 2?
No, I think it's probably number 3. But Civil War is just like, it's a comic book on screen. Like that middle section in the airports,
splash page,
as we used to say in the IKEA car park.
Yeah,
it just looks like it's a splash page, absolutely, and it just feels the most comic book of any comic book movie ever made. That's
my number 2, Civil War. Yeah, although we rewatched the first Avengers movie. Recently. I did kind of forget how bloody magnificent it is, because all of Phase 1 I kind of put in my head as early days, still finding their feet.
It's the starting blocks.
But you go back and you watch Avengers and you're like, holy moly,
man! You go back and watch the first Avenger. Like, that movie really holds up. It's really great. Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
It's solid.
The Star Spangled Banner. It is a banger, mate. The Star Spangled Banner. That section is brilliant. Oh man, I love the first Avenger, and I really rate the first Thor movie.
It has some really great character moments. The first Captain America movie, but overall it's rather generic, I'd say. It's a bridging movie between the Tim Story era of comic book movies in the mid-noughties, like Fantastic Four, and then what we've got now.
I don't know, it feels quite 90s to me, Captain America the First Avenger. But I think that's, Joe Johnson, mate.
We could talk about this for a lot longer. So Cameron has asked, which match? This is a good question. Which match was better? Omega versus Jericho, of course organised by our new best bud, Don Callis, or Gargano versus Almas from NXT TakeOver? Very closely, like those happen within a few weeks of each other.
Both 5-star matches, as reported by Dave Meltzer.
Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I think
I'm quite clear with my one.
Yeah? I think I'm going to go Omega Jericho.
Because I'm Gargano Almas.
And the reason why I would go Gargano Almas, but the reason I am Omega Jericho is because I knew that Almas was winning. And it wasn't because I had it spoiled for him or anything. I was just I didn't think it was the right time for Johnny Gargano to win the championship. So it made it harder. I think we talked about this in the review at the time, but it made me harder for me to buy into the near falls. Whereas with Omega Jericho, I really didn't know which way it was going to go. I genuinely thought that Jericho might win the belt. So I think I was more into the near falls into that match. So I think on that basis, I'm going to go Omega Jericho. But the drama and everything else, like that moment when Candice LeRae jumps the guardrail and attacks Lena, that's probably one of my favourite moments of the year so far in terms of wrestling. So it's very even, but I think just on the basis of I wasn't sure who was going to win, I might have to go Omega Jericho.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because when I was watching the match, I was like into the near falls, but I always deep down knew that Almas was going to win. It would have been a big shocker if Gargano won. But I didn't mind that because you can have predictable movies.
You certainly
but
can.
Love everything that happens within it.
Absolutely.
And all that story that they told, I just thought was masterful. Plus, as much as I did, and I loved Omega versus Jericho too, there were bits that I didn't like in it. And I loved everything in Gargano versus Almas.
Yeah, fair enough.
So there were a few, it just felt a bit sloppy at times. The cold spray stuff. Wasn't a fan of. So if I was being super critical, I could, knock a few points off Jericho Omega, but I couldn't do that to Gargano Almas.
Fair enough.
Great match. Both great matches though. Yours?
It is. Ben Sawyer writes, will Johnny Gargano have an NXT Championship run before getting called up to the main roster? Well, one of the words is that he's going to be called up following WrestleMania. So I don't know if Gargano does have the NXT Championship in his future at this present moment in time.
I think he's got to. Because as soon as he gets to the main roster, that's it, right? He's done.
Yeah, but he's going to get to 205 Live.
He's never going to have anything again, so give the poor guy an NXT title run.
Yeah.
Dylan Kapiski writes, if Daniel Bryan returns to the ring in WWE this year, would you put him in a world title feud? If so, would you have him win? For me, I'd put him in the title picture, but whether he wins or not would be a matter of circumstance. For example, if he comes back for WrestleMania, either with or against Shane, I would imagine, and Styles retains over Nakamura, this is making me a little bit funny in the knees.
Bit tingly.
I would put Bryan versus Styles at SummerSlam, with Bryan going over. However, if Nakamura went over Styles at WrestleMania, I would still put Bryan in the SummerSlam match, obviously this time against Nakamura, but not give him the belt, as Nakamura could use a definitive defense over a big name like Bryan. Thanks, guys. DK. I mean, yeah,
you sold me, mate.
Yeah,
sold me, Dylan.
I don't know what we can add to that.
No, absolutely. I think if Daniel Bryan did return to the ring, I think I would put him in a title picture, but I think it only really works. I mean, it's not like only works, but I think it would work better if it was going against a heel. Because then you have got like that real underdog Daniel Bryan story that you can retell again, his triumphant return to the ring, but with this big, evil, mean, it's like almost like a Randy Orton, where you want it to be like an evil dick Randy Orton. Basically, you want to do what they did in 2014? Before WrestleMania 30? It would make sense if it was 2014.
Yeah.
So, so that's kind of how I think I would go with it.
It's just when you get into that question and all the mouth-watering matches Bryan could have. Kurt Angle's in the same company now. They could just have a really good mat-based wrestling thing. Chad Gable!
Come on now.
Shush!
It's your turn.
No, it's your turn.
Oh, it is my turn. Richard James Stevens writes, due to the repetitive tag matches on Raw and SmackDown, should the tag titles be unified to allow for more varied matchups? Particularly, I suppose. I mean, he sent this before the announcement, I think, with the dual-branded pay-per-views returning at Backlash. Should we just have one set of tag champs?
One set of tag champs. One set of trios champs or 6-man tag belts.
Yeah, fair enough. I think that I could probably go for that.
Josh Clifton, what are your ideal feuds for Raw, SmackDown, and NXT post WrestleMania? I would go with Rollins versus Reigns, Balor versus Matt or Jeff for the IC title, Nakamura versus Zayn. For NXT, I would go with Black versus Dream or Cole, Street Profits versus War Machine if Fish is injured. Don't know what I would do with the women. Becky versus Asuka.
Yeah, it's interesting with the SmackDown side of things, particularly with the women's division, what you do once I'm assuming, presumably once Asuka wins the belt at WrestleMania, the feud you can do from then. Because I'd really like to see Becky do something this year, because we talked about it before, 14 months now without a storyline. I think it's about time that she actually had a story that she can sink her teeth into and build some character around. So I'd like to see Becky versus Asuka. I think that would be a lot of fun. Rollins versus Reigns, I think, pretty much writes itself at this point.
I'm more interested to see post night after WrestleMania, Roman Reigns is doing his, whatever. If he hasn't turned heel, Samoa Joe comes out. I think
that'd be good.
Joe Reigns feud would be good. And,
that'd be cool.
And then you can, because I feel like Rollins and Reigns needs a bit more time after Mania, because their feud's been ignored since Rumble and the Chamber.
Yeah, and Nakamura versus Zayn's an interesting one as well, because if Nakamura is winning at WrestleMania, and if rumours are to be true, AJ is being moved to Raw, then who are the top heels for Nakamura to go up against? And I suppose that would be like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn and the like. So it's Nakamura versus Zayn, especially playing off their NXT, Nakamura's debut in WWE at NXT TakeOver.
Best match in WWE.
Probably, yeah. So, I think I could see if we go for that. And with NXT, like I'm pretty sure I'd probably put money on the Adam Cole versus Aleister Black is going to be the main event of NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 4, is it? Yeah, whichever one.
Yeah, I think it is.
TakeOver Brooklyn, I think it's going to be Cole versus Aleister Black.
You know what? I'm thinking, I know he's not around immediately after WrestleMania, but maybe you could get him, you probably will come back for something for SummerSlam. A John Cena Nakamura title defense, main event of SummerSlam.
Going for his 17th world title.
Yeah, but Nakamura wins. I think that would be, and really hold off that Cena 17th title for ages.
Yeah.
And it gives Nakamura so much credibility to win that.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that'd be quite cool. Do you want to do one more?
Finally,
Rob Pontin. Will All In change the face of professional wrestling if it's successful?
So of course, All In is the Bullet Club pay-per-view.
Yes, it is.
Or pay-per-view. It's a wrestling show. They're trying to get 10,000 people to come, which is just hasn't been done in 2 decades, really.
Just ask Sasha. I was going to say Sasha Grey. Well, you said get 10,000 people to come. I was making a lewd joke,
right.
And then I nearly said Sasha Banks. I was like, well, that's steady on. But
that's a bit of an outdated pornographic reference.
But that's because it's the first one that came to my head.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
Usually you're all over
Riley Reid. That's where
are several other ones.
That's where my mind was trying to get to, but I couldn't get there.
I would say it's going to be an interesting one. I almost feel like, because it's almost like this indie wrestling thing is building towards All In, and you can go 2 ways. It can then continue to increase, or that's the
pop of the bubble.
That's the pop of the bubble, and actually that's the pinnacle, and it starts to just like slowly taper off after that. It'll be interesting if they can even do it.
Yeah.
If someone like a Punk comes back for it, or a Bryan, then yes, I think that it will actually shift the face of everything. But
But that's only if it's a one-shot deal. Then it doesn't really change anything because Ring of Honor will still be doing their same amount of numbers that they're doing, and New Japan will do the same sort of numbers they're doing. Like the 10,000 will come from the fact that we've got CM Punk versus Daniel Bryan in the main event, or like that. So that's you pull in. But if that's a one-match only thing, your 10,000 aren't going to come back for the next show in theory. So it's going to be really interesting. I mean, regardless, it's funny we always talk about this 10,000 and that means it's successful. This show is going to be successful regardless because the amount of money that they are going to make just off merchandise is going to be absolutely off the chain. They're going to make
off the chain.
It's going to be off the chain. They're going to make so much money off this. It's going to be a runaway success, no matter who is on the card, really. So I'm really excited to see what they pull out from it.
I'm not a big believer in moments changing history. I think really it's not that simple. It's more complex, and you've got loads of things happening backstage.
So it's the opposite of WWE.
Yeah, it's actually slowly coalesces and things over time. I think the stuff that's changed the face of pro wrestling next year has already started to happen at the end of last year. The rise of New Japan and Ring of Honor. The Wrestling Observer Awards came out this week, and New Japan just dominated it all. And is that where it's gone over the hill?
Because they did everything at the Tokyo Dome.
Yeah. What's he called? The guy who owns Access, Mark Cuban.
Yes.
He's got a lot of money to invest in stuff like this, so maybe that would change the face of pro wrestling. I don't know. Okay, I'm going to say no. It won't change the face of pro wrestling, but that is not taking anything away from the accomplishment of what they're doing, because it's incredible. It's just to change the face of pro wrestling is like you'd have to have a Ted Turner style figure to come back in to make something that seismic in one moment.
Yeah, someone who was just going in to essentially sink hundreds of millions of dollars into a wrestling promotion with a guaranteed primetime TV slot where you could essentially just do what Nitro did. I think that's the only way you could really change the face of professional wrestling like that.
Yeah, or maybe football. Maybe you could do that with football.
What, with the XFL?
Yeah,
that's going to change the face.
That's all we've got time for in this new era I'm never going to say that again.
No?
The new era.
Oh, that seems like a real WWE
It
branded
does. That's
thing
why
to
we're
say.
not going to say it anymore. It's
I'm gonna
phase 2.
I'm going to say it from now on.
No,
oh,
it's phase 2.
No, surely I was phase 2 because you were phase 1, and then we came together like the Avengers.
No, I don't feel like WrestleTalk was just. I feel like we're phase 1.
Yeah.
Me and you. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
So that's all we've got time for.
I
for
feel
this
honoured.
First ever phase 2 episode of WrestleRamble with our WrestleTalk GM, of course, looming over us. But click the videos that have just appeared under our chests on our laps to catch up with the latest WrestleTalk news or WrestleRamble. Of course, subscribe to the WrestleRamble in podcast form wherever you get your podcasts: iTunes, Acast, Podcatcher, Podbean, Podmax, Podears.
Podmax.
I'm making them up now.
That's an Adam Buxton
This
one.
has been Luke Owen. I've been Ollie Davis, and that was some New Era Rambling.